Are you living your life or just performing it for others? Let that sink in for a moment. You buy new clothes, not because you love them, but because they'll pop on Instagram. You go to a cafe, not for the coffee or the quiet, but because it has a trendy interior for your story. You achieve something meaningful, and before even celebrating, you're thinking, what caption should I write? Sound familiar? You're not alone. In today's world, we've been conditioned, sometimes without realizing it, to shape our lives around how they'll look rather than how they'll feel. We're chasing likes, validation, and approval from people who often don't even know us, and somewhere along the way, we forget who we are, what we love, and why we're here. This video is about taking your life back. It's called Live Your Life for Yourself, Not for Others' Likes. Because your worth isn't measured in followers. Your happiness shouldn't hinge on hearts and thumbs ups. And your life, this one short, incredible life, deserves to be lived fully, authentically, and on your terms. So let's talk about why this matters now more than ever, and how you can stop living for the algorithm, and start living for yourself. From a young age, we're taught to be nice, be agreeable, don't make waves, put others first. And while kindness is a beautiful thing, there's a dangerous side to constantly putting others before yourself. You begin to disappear. Society praises selflessness, being available, saying yes, keeping everyone happy. But what no one talks about is the quiet toll it takes. When your worth is tied to how much you give, how little you ask, and how well you're liked, you slowly lose touch with who you are. Your needs, your passions, your voice, they all get buried, under the pressure to please. Over time, this leads to burnout, resentment, and a deep sense of disconnection. You feel exhausted, but you don't know why. Here's the truth. Saying yes to everyone else while saying no to yourself isn't noble, it's destructive. Ironically, when you stop trying to be nice all the time and start living for yourself, making choices based on your truth, not approval, you become more authentic, more energized, and even more capable of giving to others in a real, meaningful way. Being true to yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. You've probably heard the phrase, you can't pour from an empty cup. The cup overflow principle takes that idea one step further. Don't just fill your cup, let it overflow. Because only when your own cup is full can you truly give to others without draining yourself. Think of your energy, time, and emotional well-being as a cup. Most people try to help others while their own cup is half full, or worse, almost empty. They give time they don't have, say yes when they're exhausted, and show up with a fake smile when they're breaking inside. But when you prioritize your own needs, your rest, joy, boundaries, and passions, you start filling your cup. And once it's full, the overflow is what you give to others. Real love, presence, and support. That doesn't come from guilt or pressure, but from abundance. For example, a person who never takes a break always says yes to extra work and works late to impress their boss, eventually becomes exhausted and resentful. Their productivity drops, and they begin to dread their job. But an employee who sets boundaries, takes breaks, and manages their energy brings creativity, calm, and focus to their work, becoming more valuable and reliable. When you start living authentically, true to yourself, your values, and your passions, you begin to radiate what's called magnetic energy. This isn't some mystical force, it's a real, observable shift in how people respond to you. Think about someone you admire, not because they're perfect, but because they're unapologetically themselves. They aren't trying to please everyone, yet people are naturally drawn to them. That's magnetic energy. It comes from confidence, clarity, and being rooted in your truth. Now, contrast that with someone who constantly seeks approval, always tries to fit in, and says yes, even when they mean no. That energy feels heavy, anxious, and even repelling over time. Why? Because it's not authentic. People can sense, when you're not being real. When you live for yourself, you stop chasing validation and start attracting respect. You might lose some people at first, those who benefited from your people-pleasing ways, but the right ones will start to appear. Friends who value your boundaries, opportunities that align with your purpose, and peace. That doesn't depend on others' opinions. For example, if you love painting, but always hid that side of you to seem practical, the moment you start sharing your art, you'll connect with people who love you for who you really are, not the mask you wore. So remember this, authenticity is attractive. Living your truth doesn't push people away, it pulls, the right ones in. One of the most liberating steps you can take in life is detaching from the need for others' approval. We're often conditioned to seek validation from those around us, whether it's through likes on social media, praise from colleagues, or approval from family. But here's the thing, living for approval keeps you trapped in a cycle of pleasing others, not yourself. When you constantly look for others to validate your worth, you lose touch with your own values and desires. Think about it. How many times have you said yes to something you didn't want to do, just because you were afraid of disappointing someone, or held back from sharing your true thoughts, just to avoid judgment? The real power comes when you stop seeking permission to be yourself. You no longer feel the need to justify your choices to anyone. Instead of asking, "What will people think?" you start asking, "What do I want?" For example, let's say you've always wanted to start a podcast about a niche topic you love, but you're worried people might not get it. Or even worse, judge you for being different. If you live for approval, you'll never start, but once you let go of needing everyone to agree with you, that's when you find the courage to follow your passion. Saying no is one of the most empowering acts you can do for yourself. It's not just about rejecting requests from others, it's about protecting your energy, your time, and your well-being. So often we feel guilty or anxious when we say no, thinking we'll disappoint others or miss out on opportunities. But here's the truth. Every yes to someone else can be a no to yourself. Take the example of going for a social event. You might feel pressured to go out with friends, even if you're exhausted and need rest. Saying no isn't about rejecting your friends, it's about honoring your need for rest. In the long run, your friends will respect your boundaries more when they see you consistently value yourself. By saying no, you also make room for the things that truly matter to you, like working on your passion project, spending quality time with loved ones, or simply recharging. Setting boundaries is often misunderstood as selfishness. We live in a world that constantly demands our attention, whether it's through work, family, friends, or even social media. People might feel that if you set limits, you're being self-centered or inconsiderate. But in reality, boundaries are an act of self-respect, not selfishness. They're a way to take care of your mental and emotional health so you can show up fully for the people and things that matter most. For example, imagine you're a parent who works full-time and also takes care of household responsibilities. If you never set boundaries with family or friends, you might find yourself constantly stretched thin, feeling overwhelmed. Setting a clear boundary like, "I need a few hours each week for personal time," isn't selfish, it's necessary for your well-being. It ensures you can be a more patient, focused, and loving parent or friend when you're with them. Another example is in romantic relationships. If one partner constantly demands attention or expects the other to drop everything, setting a boundary like, "I need some time to myself to recharge," doesn't mean you love them any less. It means you value yourself enough to take care of your needs without personal space, and resentment can build up, and the relationship may suffer. Boundaries create a healthier balance, allowing you to give your best self, not a drained version of yourself. One of the greatest acts of courage is embracing your imperfections. In a world that often values perfection, it takes real strength to accept that you don't have to have everything figured out. Perfectionism can paralyze you, keeping you stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and fear of failure. But living authentically requires being okay with not being perfect. The courage to be imperfect means showing up as your true self, flaws and all. It means not waiting for the perfect moment to start something you're passionate about, like launching a business or taking up a new hobby. If you're constantly waiting for everything to be just right, you'll never begin. Progress happens when you step forward, even if it's messy. For example, think about starting a new workout routine. You might be intimidated by the idea of not performing well or comparing yourself to others at the gym. But the reality is, no one is perfect at something new. It's courageous to step into that gym, regardless of where you're starting from. Over time, progress comes not from perfection, but from consistent effort. Another example is in relationships. Maybe you're afraid of being vulnerable or showing your true feelings because you're scared of judgment, but it's the imperfect moments, the times you let your guard down, that build deeper, more authentic connections with others. The courage to be imperfect is liberating. It allows you to grow, take risks, and truly live without the fear of not being good enough. So in the end, I would say that living your life for yourself, not for others' approval, is a journey of self-discovery, courage, and authenticity. It's about setting boundaries, embracing imperfection, and learning to trust your own judgment over external validation. Remember, you don't need anyone's approval to be worthy. You're enough, just as you are. Now, it's your turn to take action. Start small, set one boundary today, embrace one imperfection, or let go of something that's holding you back. Trust yourself, and watch how your life begins to shift. If this video resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below with one thing you're committing to do for yourself this week.